Conversations with Brooke Allen.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for joining us. This is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen, and this is season 2, episode 10. It's so exciting. I just can't even believe it. So I'm not really good at math, but I think in all it's 62 episodes. So that has been 62 Mondays that we've been doing this. And I just want to say thank you for all of your support. It has been amazing. I do want to share something that happened last week. So I've been doing the show, and people always say, well, how do you make money doing the show? And I'm like, well, that's a little sketchy sometimes. Of course, we have sponsors and everything. So short story, I got offered a pretty good job last week. And what was interesting is that it was a 9-to-5 job in a cubicle. And I would have to be at the office Mondays, 9 to 5. And I was like, it was great money. But at the end of the day, when I thought about it, I thought, how could I not be here at the Imagine every Monday at 10, drinking my coffee and being with all of you? So bottom line is I said no to that job offer. So we are going to continue this show. We are going to make it better and stronger and keep going. There have been so many collaborations. It has been an amazing, amazing thing for me. And I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for hanging out with us every Monday with your coffee, and even at our After Dark shows, which of course that next one is coming up in February. So question for you. What does a race car driver, an insurance agent, a granddad, and a dog all have in common? Well, they are all here. So I am super excited, and I am with Sarah Haro. And so Sarah, tell me your title, your professional title.
Yeah, so I'm a professional driver in many aspects. I drive my own drift cars. I drive other people's drift cars. I drive Ford products here in Dearborn and everywhere else. I drive semi-trucks. So basically, I drive things.
You love driving, and you have loved driving things since you were a little girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were born in Florida.
Yep.
Okay, but you have lived in Sweden the majority of your life.
Exactly.
Okay, so you are here because of the Detroit Auto Show,
Yeah,
right? So what are you doing there?
So there I am driving the Ford Bronco Badlands Sasquatch package, showing people what it's capable of, showing them the course and everything, and just getting people in the vehicle, experience the vehicle, to see what you're capable of. It's really cool.
Okay, so you were actually on a Netflix show.
I was.
Okay, and that kind of started because it all started with a hashtag for you.
Yeah.
What was it, Drift Chick?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so tell me about this show.
So I got invited through Instagram, and they're like, we saw your page. We saw that you drive semi-trucks and think it would be really cool if you could join the show. They wouldn't tell me what it was called or anything like that. I'm like, well, either it's a hoax or it's actually happening.
Right.
So why not? And I sent in my interviews and everything for it. And it ended up happening 2 weeks before they needed the car on set and everything. They're like, oh, we got a green light. You got to own the car and you got to have a cage. I was like, well, I have my daily, 2014 Mustang V6. I was like, well, I can probably do the thing. So we gutted it and put a cage in it and sent it up there.
So what is a cage for people who might not know?
So it is a safety structure in your vehicle to prevent any injuries from if you hit a car or a wall or a roll. It will keep you safe inside the vehicle. So it's an internal cage.
Okay, so it's literally a cage.
Yeah, literally.
Okay. Okay. So how old were you when you decided you wanted to do this for a living?
I think I unintentionally got into it by my dad guiding me through a bunch of car stuff. He would show me Daytona Hall of Fame when I was there visiting. He would take me go-karting and just having a lot of fun. Then I found out that my grandpa did rally racing over in Sweden. And I think unintentionally I got into drifting specifically by growing up in Sweden and playing around on the ice with old Volvos and stuff like that.
Okay, so what is drifting?
Controlling a car that's out of control, basically.
That's what I thought.
It's like figure skating with cars. It's a judge sport, and you would be battling a bracket of drivers. So you would have 2 cars battling each other next to each other, getting the car in zones, clipping points, having proximity, having a good line so the other car can follow you, and then they judge based off of that.
Yeah. So it's like being choreographed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so you are here for the show, and you've been to Detroit before, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So what's your favorite part of the city?
That's a hard thing to say. I mean, I love the convention center and the auto shows for sure, and then Dearborn Proving Grounds there is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
We went paintballing a few times outside of Dearborn. We do rock climbing in the city here. So we do a lot of activities outside of work too, which is fun.
Okay, so you mentioned activities, and I imagine you have to be in really good physical shape to be a driver.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to drive for.
Gotta be flexible, right? When that car is like falling all over the place.
Yes, no, absolutely, and you got to have good reaction time for stuff and so forth too.
So what is one thing you would say to anyone who wants to be a professional driver?
Go do it. Get out on track.
Really?
Yeah, just try it out. They have learners days, so maybe you don't buy a vehicle right away. You go out and try one out first, and then see if it's something for you, and just have fun. As long as you're having fun, you should do it. If you're not having fun, you shouldn't do it.
You shouldn't do it, right? Exactly. So you are just 25.
No, I'm actually 29.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
Oh, I guess what I read was wrong.
Well, thank you. I'm 25.
Well, you look
That's
25,
cool.
so. Okay, so 29, trust me, is still
Yes.
pretty good, right, for everything you've accomplished. So what do you want to do next? Or what, I know you're a model, right?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay.
I do a little bit of everything. So what I want to do next, though, completely is move back to America. I want to start a program to where I have a ride-along car with 4 seats in it, a cage and everything safety-wise, and I want to get people involved in motorsports. So I want to get people on track. Just watching a track and watching the cars go down a track is a whole different thing than being in the car and seeing the track from that point of view. And maybe that is that one boat to not shut down a track in a certain area one day. So I just want to get people in the cars experiencing motorsports.
So what is it about motorsports, though? I mean, people are out there cheering, and have you made good friends?
Oh yeah, my best friends are from motorsports, all of
Really?
them, but they
Okay.
might not be doing driving specifically. Might be a videographer there or a speaker there. I know so many cool people throughout motorsports, but it's just a community. I feel like everyone helps each other out in drifting, and it's like a family away from home. And same with the driving stuff I do here in Detroit and the auto shows. We're a little group of professional drivers, and we're like a little family traveling to
You
all
just
these things.
yeah, because you're always together, right? So, okay, so how does your mom feel when you're out there racing and going? How fast do you go?
So probably like, now in kilometers and miles and stuff, but I would say just 80 miles sideways.
Sideways.
Yeah.
Huh, sideways. She was 80 miles sideways.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not that some people enter at like 130, 120, but I'm like 80. It's good.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep going at 80.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so I know that, so you do some modeling, you do some driving, and you want to start when you move back to America. Any idea when that would happen? Or
Probably during the year. This
okay.
year, yeah.
Oh, so quick.
Yep.
Okay.
During this year is the plan, at least. I'll keep my apartment in Sweden, though, and my home base there for now. But then when I decide exactly where I'm going to be located, I'll ship everything over.
Okay. And then what is one thing you love about Sweden?
Nature, my family. Wintertime is super cool for skiing, ice drifting, and stuff like that. And then summertime is just beautiful weather. It's beautiful. But my mom's side and my grandma, all of them live over there. So that's the main thing that made me move back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you've lived out there, but you travel all the time. So when you're traveling, does your mom ever meet you on the road anywhere? Or no?
No, I usually travel over here.
Oh, okay.
I usually travel over here, but actually right after Detroit now, I'm going to Spain for a 1-week vacation with my mom. So she'll meet me there.
She'll meet you
Yeah.
there. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said to just do it for anyone who I assume that it doesn't just apply to racing.
No, anything.
Anything.
Anything you want to do, you should definitely try it out. And if it's something you're comfortable with and you like doing, keep doing it. And you don't know unless you try. You only regret the chances you don't take. So you should definitely try it.
Anything that you regret not doing so far in your 29 years?
No, not yet.
High five, girl. That's the way to live. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So so for everyone who wants to go out to the auto show, it closes on the 20th, which is next Monday. So how can they find you, or what should they be looking for?
So the Ford booth is the first thing you see when you come in. And in the back of that booth, we have the Bronco track, and there's EV tracks and stuff. So the auto show is very active this year, which I really like. Just getting people in the cars and doing things instead of walking around and looking at cars, So, but straight in, you got Ford right there, and then the Bronco track's right behind you.
And people can actually get in.
Yeah.
And see, and that's so fun. It's like a roller coaster, right?
Pretty much.
I did it
They
last
say it.
year.
All the kids are like, "Can we go again? Can we go again?"
You're like, no. How are the crowds this weekend?
Oh, they're awesome. They're awesome. We're having so much fun.
Well, it's funny. So a couple years ago when they changed the auto show, right, into September,
Mhm.
and I think the biggest thing there was this huge duck,
Yeah.
right? There was this huge duck that was there, and everyone kept talking about this duck. And people were like, it needs to go back to January.
Yeah.
So people were pretty excited, as cold as it's been.
Yeah. Well, it gives you something to do too in the cold,
Exactly. Right.
And it's
So-
indoors, so
Yes.
it's really nice.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much. I know that you had a special driver today bring you out here, Dave. Thank you, Dave, for bringing Sarah here. We appreciate it, and it's so inspiring to talk to you. And we do have some pictures that she has signed. So for our in-studio audience, if you want a picture, go out and meet Sarah. And seriously, I just appreciate you so much driving by to see us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Be safe, please. All right, and we'll look forward to any more TV stuff coming up.
Not as of now. Those?
Check your Instagram.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And again, that was Sarah Harrow. She is a professional driver she's at Ford at the Detroit Auto Show, which runs until the 20th, which is next Monday. So we now have Lynn Sterla joining us. Hi, Lynn. How are you?
That was fast. I was expecting to wear my. We're already here. We're good to go.
Well, you told me you were in a hurry, so I'm like, okay, I can talk super fast. I can talk as fast as Sarah can drive. How about that? Okay, so Lynn, have you ever insured a race car?
No. But when Sarah was talking, my mind is completely wired differently to protect Sarah from
You're like, Sarah, let me talk to
any
you about your
risks that may
policy.
occur to her, the car. So that's where.
That's where you went,
Yes,
right?
that's where I'm.
You're always
finishing
kind
up.
of in that mode, aren't you?
Yes. Once you start doing this, you can't go back.
Right.
I'm just constantly looking at risks and how to mitigate them
Assessing
for
and-
people. Yes.
You're like, let me help you. Right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we obviously the race car is a joke, but there's been a lot of talk about insurance, especially with the fires going out in California. We've heard a lot of stuff about that, and it's just I lived out there for years, so I know what it's like to have ash falling on your car, and you have to use your windshield wipers. It's such a scary thing, and this is so bad for everyone out there. Of course, our hearts and thoughts are with them on the West Coast, but for insurance purposes, there's a different policies that you need. And we all know we need auto, we all know we need home, but catastrophic insurance is a thing that, in Michigan, we have tornadoes.
Yes,
Right.
and your home insurance covers that. Things like that would fall actually under wind hail coverage.
Okay.
What I would suggest if people are concerned about their insurance, just call your agent, go over the policy that you have, know your coverages. There's different portions. A lot of the language people are unfamiliar with. So find someone you trust and just talk about exactly how you need to be covered for your home. For example, dwelling coverage. That actually means rebuild.
Okay.
So if you're not talking about exactly what's in your home, the exterior, different unique features, these aren't captured in the coverages, so you won't be covered for that necessarily. Some people that might be concerned about having enough coverage for a rebuild, you can add certain endorsements, 25%, 50%, it's called extended replacement. Again, with storms in Michigan, hail, wind, things like that, a lot of insurance companies, to keep costs down, are adding certain things to the policies where make sure you understand this. For wind or hail damage, there will be specific deductibles now potentially in place.
Okay.
You might be responsible for more than you think. There's actual cash value, it's called, where they will assess at the time of damage. You might be responsible for a portion. The insurance company is. They also do full replacement, but again, that could be an endorsement. So those are things you want to check out.
I know flood insurance is a huge issue,
Yes.
right? Because if you live in a flood zone, there's so many factors with this, and that is something that Michigan has dealt with.
Yes, we have. You can go on a FEMA website to see if you're in a flood zone and know that if there is flooding, if there's water coming in from the outside of your house, your home insurance coverage doesn't cover that.
If it's coming, say that again.
Like if there's storm water coming in, seeping in from outside from a storm, flooding, that's not covered in a home insurance policy. You need flood coverage specifically for that. We in the insurance at Michigan Farm Bureau Insurance, where that I represent, and most policies have something called backup, like water backup,
Okay.
and some discharge or overflow. And that is specifically for water that comes up through your drain.
I was
or
just going
your
to say,
sump
so is
pump.
that like when my basement, I go down there
Yes,
and I'm like,
that,
what is
that
happening?
would cover any damage to your basement up
Okay.
to a certain extent. Like $2,500 is all that's built into most policies. Then you've got your $1,000 discount typically or deductible, so you have $1,500. But you can purchase more if you have a finished basement. Things down
But
there
that
that
is
are
all
important.
those are all factors you need to take into
Yes,
consideration.
the point
right?
is you need to talk to someone and just kind of work through all of that. If you have a mindset of, here's my policy, I want apples to apples.
Speaking of which, here is my policy. I want you to review it today.
We will be going over this with a fine, I'm like CSI on these things. So my goal is just to make sure you understand what the coverages are and that you're covered properly. So,
And it is important to review your policy, like
Yes.
on an annual basis, right?
yes, with your insurance agent, make sure if they're not calling you before it renews that you're calling them, because you're constantly changing, your family's changing, things like that. So, and specifically with, we talk about home and auto and all this. If it's good to have all that covered, the final step would be to make sure your family's covered if
Yes.
something were to happen to you. And especially, I know you're going to be talking with someone about homes.
Yes.
If you're purchasing a home and you have a mortgage, make sure you have like a term policy, something that covers the mortgage debt or things like that.
So
Just-
that's life insurance.
yes,
right?
I'm sorry.
No, that's
segued.
okay. No, that's okay. Because
Right.
because it is important because your home is like your biggest
Yes.
asset. But then if the main person who brings in, the main breadwinner, so to speak, something happens.
Yes, and that's an area people don't like to think about. Or I talk to a lot of families where they say, well, I have insurance through work. Well, work might not always be there. It's good to have that, but you need to own your own policy, one that you control, that you can determine what it is and how it will work for you. So,
Well, and plus people don't understand that you think it's super expensive. And
it's not.
it's not, right?
The younger you are,
So like
the better.
Sarah, who's
Yeah,
29.
Sarah will have a conversation when you move here. No, I think she'd have to be in Michigan for Michigan Farm Bureau Insurance. But definitely, term life insurance is very affordable, and it's a perfect solution to all these things. So just make sure your family's protected.
Okay, so auto, home, and
Life, and I also do business and health insurance too.
Okay, so how do people reach out to you?
My cell number.
You always give your cell
You
number
get me.
out.
I do. I know it's horrible. They're like, don't do that.
I'm like, please
but
don't give your cell number out, but she does.
all right. Well, it's 248-880-8782. And you can go to sterlainsurance.com, STURLA insurance.com. And I'd be happy to help.
And I do have to say that Lynn is wonderful as far as agents go. I know that I called her one time and said, I need you. I needed to talk to her real quick. And she's like, okay, but hold on. I have to go download this app for a customer. And it was like 9:30 at night.
Yeah, I have a problem.
She loves her job.
If anyone has work-life balance assistance, I could use that. So
Speaking of which, okay, so here's this policy.
Okay.
So take that and review it and let me know, okay? And then also auto, because there is a thing about bundling your stuff too, right?
yes, you get a discount if you bundle your auto, home. There's also umbrella insurance. If you're not familiar with that, that's just purchasing additional liability because you want to make sure that your liability limits on your policies cover your net worth. So we can talk about that on another show.
That's coming
It's
up
a whole-
next week.
it's a deep
that's
dive.
That's a whole thing. That is a CSI episode in itself.
Absolutely.
What is the one thing, if you could just give one sentence about what people need to know about insurance, what would it be?
What people would need to know about insurance. Just the liability is the main thing I would say with your insurance, but just know your policy. Don't look for just the bottom dollar. You have to take everything into consideration. There's ways to bring costs down, but make sure you're insured properly because on your worst day, you want it to work for you.
Right. And you don't want to think you have something covered and then you
Exactly.
don't.
Yes.
Right?
No surprises.
No
I don't want any of my clients to be surprised.
No, definitely not. Well, thank you, Lynn. I appreciate it. Always, you're a dear
Thank
friend,
you.
so thank you. And I know you're so great at your job, and I just appreciate you making the drive in.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
appreciate you having me.
I always. All right. Again, that is Lynn Sterla from Sterla Insurance Agency, and we do have one friend coming on right now, but I actually need to bring Jeanette Schneider up from Remax. So we have so I have my proper segue here because I couldn't go without talking about insurance without talking about.
There we go.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. So this is Jeanette Schneider, and she is tell me your title.
President of Remax of Southeastern Michigan.
Yes, so thank you. So of course I haven't seen you since last
I
year,
know.
and we are talking about the housing market in 2025.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what are the key trends we need to watch out for?
I think there's a couple of things. I was going to say interest rates are always going to be critical, right? That's on everybody's mind. And I guess the advice that I see for this year is if you're waiting for rates to come down, they're not.
Okay. So
They're not.
are they stalling at what,
They're,
6
they're in the sixes. They've actually ticked up a little bit the last 4 weeks. They're getting close to 7. They're like
Oh.
at 6.7 right now.
Okay.
But I don't really expect them to go into the 7s this year. And if they do, it won't be long.
Okay.
They're going to stay in the 6s.
Okay.
Is kind of one of the trends that I would anticipate seeing for this year. So as you're taking a look at that, if you're somebody who's been sitting there waiting for rates to get lower,
Right.
we're comparing 6 is not high. People say it's high.
Because it seems high
It
now,
seems
right?
high compared to the 3% that we had for so long, but
Right.
those were historic lows. 6 is lower than the historic average.
Okay.
And I think the longer that we stay in this range, the more people will start to become accustomed to that.
How do you explain that to somebody? Like, 6 is actually good. It doesn't seem good, but it is.
It is. And I think sometimes, especially probably the younger the potential homeowner who really, if they just start paying attention in the last few years, the old pie chart or the old, chart that
Right.
shows, look over time, this is where they've been.
Right.
So yes, while this was a, kind of a big bump in a relatively short period of time a few
Mhm.
years ago, it's been relatively stable since then. We think it's going to stay relatively stable for the
Okay.
foreseeable future.
Okay, so that is interest rates, and then also modest growth in home prices.
Yes, because that's the other thing to take a look at. Home prices have been on an upward trajectory,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Some years like pretty high,
Yeah,
and
crazy high.
stuff like that. What we think for 2025, they're still going to go up because the underlying issue of supply and demand has not changed.
Okay.
More demand than supply.
Right.
So we still think the home prices are going to go up, just not maybe quite as fast or as much as what we've seen over the last few years.
How competitive? What's going on with the bidding and the competitive nature?
The competitive nature. Right now we're not seeing as many multiple bids. Really kind of
Right,
driving
because
that.
for a while it was crazy.
It was crazy. I do think in spring some of that could come back, especially in areas that are highly sought after, especially by first-time buyers where there's a ton of competition.
Mhm.
When we get into spring, I won't be surprised to see a little bit of that come back in.
Okay.
Right now, winter months, that's not typically something we see. But back to interest rates and home appreciation, right? If you're waiting for a lower interest rate and you're sitting there for another year or two waiting, okay, interest rates finally come into the 5s in a couple of years,
Right.
but in the meantime, home values have kept ticking up.
So it's gonna.
You're not saving anything, and you're not building wealth in the meantime.
And you're gonna break even or not even?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Okay, so modest growth in home prices. I'm looking at my notes. I'm
Yep.
cheating today. And then, so affordability.
Affordability. Now that is something that I think especially first-time buyers are tending to grapple with right now.
Mhm.
Because while I can tell them all day long that 6% isn't a high interest rate,
Right.
it is high when you're trying to finance something,
Mhm.
right? You're
And you have to
looking
figure out the down payment,
all of
of it, right?
and insurance, because once you buy a home, you have to pay for insurance.
Right.
And there's other costs that come along with that, and just saving for the down payment. So home prices have continued to go up.
Mhm.
The cost to borrow money has kind of somewhat flatlined. It moves a little bit within this range. All of that impacts affordability, especially for first-time buyers. And let's not forget, we are still battling inflation as a whole.
Correct.
While some things have receded a little, egg prices
I knew you were going to
are
say
back
eggs.
to what they were. And with everything going on in California, with all due respect to that,
Right.
I don't anticipate lumber or anything related to home building going down.
Right.
There's going to be a lot
What
of
about
pressure on that.
supply what about the whole supply chain issue? That might.
This could
That
be a
could
challenge.
be a
And
challenge,
we
right?
also have a new president coming in where there's some concerns or questions about what tariffs may or may not do,
Right.
to supplies and costs.
Right.
So we've got all of those factors. So that does impact perception of affordability, the reality of affordability. The one thing I would encourage, especially the younger first-time buyers, to take a look at is it's easy to get overwhelmed and it's easy to put a really big, price tag on all of this, right? Is if you're looking at a median sales price in Metro Detroit.
Mhm.
to
What
put-
is that?
Is at 321 as of December.
Okay.
So if you look at that, say, but if I'm only going to put 3% down on the median price, not something lower, just median price, that's still under 10 grand for a down payment.
Okay.
So if you take a look at kind of that eating the elephant one bite at a time,
Right.
it's like, okay, yes, this can be expensive, but
Mhm.
let's put it in perspective. If I can save 10 grand, I can put a down payment on a median sale price home. If I'm buying something less than that, it's not even that much.
It's not even that.
It's not that much. So sometimes it helps to kind of really do the mathematics of it.
Okay. So I always ask you this every time I see you. What are the hot zip codes?
I know, I'm right. I would say, in December, Oakland County as a whole was hot.
Really?
And yeah, just
Okay.
they outpaced everybody else. But more specific cities would be Dearborn had a really good December. Canton, Southgate, Royal Oak, Troy all saw home sales, up over what they had been the year prior. They also price increases.
Right.
So yeah, very interesting. Different points of town. Kind of had a more solid December than I think some might have expected.
Interesting. And so I live in Berkeley, as you know, and it's funny because for a while, you would see for sale signs popping out everywhere, and then they'd be gone,
Right.
because the house would have sold already, right?
Yeah.
But now I see very few for sale signs, and if I do see one, it seems like it's there longer.
A little bit.
Is it because of the season? It's winter.
A little bit. I think we're getting back to some more seasonality, which there for a while coming out of COVID, seasonality just
It didn't
throw it out
matter,
the window.
right?
Yeah,
No.
it didn't matter. So we're getting a little seasonality back into the market. Homes are sitting a little longer, but still in the
So what is that?
35-ish days on
Wow.
market range. So that really hasn't changed. It's
Okay.
just again, if you're comparing selling in hours,
Mhm.
versus selling in, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks, or 3 to 4 weeks.
Right.
3 to 4 weeks is still really
Still
quick.
really good.
It's just a little longer than.
Isn't that funny though? People are like, my house didn't sell in an hour. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, we had to open this weekend,
Yes.
and I didn't get an offer. What's the matter with it? And it's like, no, I mean, they're still moving.
Okay.
We had one in our neighborhood, same thing. It went out right before Christmas, and it went pending on January 1st. It was
Wow.
like 3 weeks. So
Okay, so seller's market, buyer's market.
still leans towards sellers. Buyers, it's certainly a different, right now is probably a good time to be a buyer. There's less competition. Sellers aren't getting a lot of maybe foot traffic and offers. Now would be a good time to be a buyer.
Okay.
And don't take yourself out of the market in the winter and wait to spring.
Wait, right.
Everybody waits to spring.
Everyone does that.
Be in there now. But overall, there's still not enough supply of homes for sale to meet demand. So it's still in a seller's market.
Okay, well, thank you so
My
much, Jeanette.
pleasure.
Always fun to talk to you. And what is the one zip code that you foresee like kind of coming up?
Oh,
Any surprises out there?
and I don't think so this year. I mean,
Really?
I don't think there's a lot of surprises. I mean, is there anything on that Woodward corridor? I mean, you've got a lot, whether it's Ferndale, Royal Oak, anything
Right.
in that area is always going to remain and stays very popular. Dearborn, again, has been very solid all year as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much
My
for all the
pleasure.
tips. And we have to remember that 6.1 interest rate is not.
No, it's really not. If you can afford it.
If you can
I don't want
afford
to
it.
get somebody in the house
Right,
they can't
no,
afford.
for sure. Thank you,
You
Jeanette.
bet.
And again, that is Jeanette Snyder. And thank you so much, Jeanette, for joining us. And of course, we've had this furry friend next to me this whole time. And Zara, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
And tell me who this is.
This is Tatiana Ali. She's one of my foster dogs from work.
Okay, and you are with
Friends for Animals.
Yes, Friends for Animals of Metro Detroit, and they are a wonderful organization. They are our community partner this month. And Tatiana, she's so loving, but she
Yeah.
has a big story.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was adopted out from us originally in 2018. I believe at the time she was like 1 year old.
Mm-hmm.
Then came in again as a stray.
So they returned. They
No,
returned her?
she came in as a
she
stray.
came in as a stray.
So she was adopted out, came in as a stray again. It was in August of 2024.
Did you guys recognize her?
We didn't recognize her
Okay.
until we microchip
Microchip,
scanned her
yeah.
and found out who she was.
Right.
But she is such a sweet lady. I mean, I
How
don't know.
old is she? Do we know?
She's 7.5.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're 7.5. You're such a good girl. You look beautiful in your plaid.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the work, you're the adoption manager.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so the programs that you guys run, tell me how they work.
Yeah, so
She's bored, she's young.
So what we do is we just have people walk in, take a look around. If an animal interests them, they can meet with them, or they can, if they are interested in adopting after meeting them, then fill out an application. Usually we send them home same day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A lot of times our animals go home the same day.
So it's
yeah.
not a long process.
Not
You can
a
go
long
in and
process
meet
at
them.
all.
What are the adoption days? Are there certain days that you guys are open?
Yes, we are open for adoptions from Wednesday through Sunday from noon to 4.
Noon to 4? Okay.
Yeah.
And do people need to let you know they're coming in, or?
Oh no, we take
No?
walk-ins all the time.
I'm going to walk in there this afternoon. Did you know that?
Oh, really?
Yes. She's like, okay, I'm out, man. I am so out. Okay, so supplies that you guys need. I know that you guys are always looking for things to help take care of these animals.
Oh yeah, we especially need like heartworm flea prevention for dogs, cats. We need treats, blankets, toys, all that.
And then you have cats too. Right?
We do have cats.
Yeah, so you have cats and dogs.
Yep.
Okay, so cats and dogs and puppies, older dogs, senior dogs. What
We
is
do
the mix?
currently have some puppies.
Oh,
Very minimal kittens right now because kitten season is out. We do sometimes also get in some small dogs.
Okay. What is the like pet people look for the most?
Most of the time, we have people looking for kittens.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
That's
Oh,
our most
sorry.
popular.
I'm sorry, I'm
yeah.
a dog person. So kittens are the hot item.
Yes, and large dogs are actually our hardest to adopt out.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they are kind of big.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
And they
lot
do
of,
eat
a lot
a
of
lot, right?
responsibility. Yeah.
So how do you know if you? I have a dog who cannot. I mean, he cannot have another animal with him,
Yeah.
right? Because he was attacked a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
So he is not friendly to other dogs. But how, like, if somebody had a dog at home and they
Yeah.
wanted to adopt another one, how do you introduce them, or
Yeah, so we actually do dog meets at the shelter. We have like an outdoor area where they like sniff each other through the fence at 1st. Then they, if things are
Kind of
going
like dating
well,
online, right?
kind of, yeah,
like
yeah. And most of the time, it's the other dog in the home that's making the decision of which dog to bring home.
really.
Yeah,
They're like, nope, nope, nope.
yeah,
One a
exactly.
blonde, one a brunette, whatever. So I know you guys have a wish list,
Yes, we do.
but so people can find that
On our
and-
website,
on
yeah.
our website, and then just kind of send the supplies to you.
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
And you guys also have a buddy brunch coming up, which is
We
a
do.
lot of fun. There's always animals there. That is what, February
15.
15th. Okay, so tell me a little bit about that so people can get their tickets.
Yeah, so it's at Park Place, I believe, in Dearborn. We're having we do this every year. We have like a brunch event. And then the day before, we're also having an adoption event called Meet Your Match, where people can just come in, fill out an application, and they get matched with like their perfect match.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And just in time for Valentine's Day,
Yes,
right?
exactly. It is on
It is on
Valentine's.
Valentine's, right?
Yeah.
And that's why she's wearing pink.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, she has been so good.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so tell me one fun fact about Tatiana before I let her go.
Oh, Tatiana is good with. I have cats at home. She's good with all 5 of them.
So she is so is she up for adoption?
She is up for adoption.
Oh, she is?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm just fostering
Oh,
her.
you are?
Yeah.
How long have you been fostering her?
Fostering her for about 2 months now.
So if she gets adopted, aren't you going to miss her?
I will. She's my first ever foster dog.
Tatiana, don't go. Don't go. Kids.
Loves kids, other dogs as well. She's just like the perfect girl.
She seems pretty mellow. She's been here for about an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
All she wanted was my coffee, which I would not get when she's bored. So, seriously, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for coming
Of course,
in.
thank you for having us.
Thank you for bringing her. I do hope she finds her permanent home, forever home, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But it is a pleasure to meet her. Thank you.
Of course.
All right.
Thank you for having
Will
us.
she be at the buddy bunch?
She might be, depending if she's adopted or not.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed for her. Okay.
All right.
All right. And I'll see you later today.
Of course. Thank you.
Get your thing. Bye, Tom. We're gonna wheel her off. Oh,
Yeah.
there she goes. She's like, I'm out. So again, that was Tatiana, who is 7.5 years old. She is up for adoption. And of course, Friends for Animals of Metro Detroit, they are our community partner this month. And now our Caffeinated Act of Kindness is It's a Grand Life. Craig Nash is with us. And we do this, we feature a nonprofit every month because it's so important to raise awareness for nonprofits that are out there. And Craig, what you do is amazing. And this is something that I've never done. It actually started with a podcast
It
that
did,
you do.
yeah.
And I'm going to let him talk about the podcast because I'm just like that.
Well, thank you very
No,
much.
I'm just teasing you. So It's a Grand Life. Tell us what you do.
Well, we are an advocate for grandparents who are raising their grandkids or other relatives that are raising grandkids in the family. And there's 3 million kids being raised by grandparents or relatives across the country. It's a huge issue in our country and it doesn't get a lot of exposure. So I appreciate you having me here so much.
No, it is a huge issue. Kinship care
Yes.
is what it's called too sometimes,
Yes.
right?
That's for I use the grand family analogy because I'm a grandparent. And if you have a granddaughter you're raising, we're a grand family. But if you're a relative raising kin, you're a kinship caregiver.
Right.
And we got started in this because when my daughter left home and was living on the streets of Detroit, and we became guardians of our granddaughter, I heard this wonderful message from Rick Warren out in California, who said, "Don't waste your pain." And I could sit in the corner and feel sorry for myself, or I could do something about it. And so we started a podcast and tried to get subject matter experts that could really be a blessing to our audience. And then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months into this, we realized that 30% of the grandparents that we were interviewing are living at or below the poverty level. So we couldn't just talk about the problem. We had to be more involved. So we started a not-for-profit. And our goal the first year was to raise $25,000, and we had raised $60,000.
That is so awesome.
And we helped 100 kids in December and grandparents with toys and different things.
And meals too,
And
right?
meals,
I thought I saw, holiday meals.
And it's just been amazing that we're in a space, Brooke, where there's we're not competitive with anybody. We're nonpartisan. Everybody loves grandparents. Everybody loves grandkids. So we can be a blessing to everybody. And it's, in our country, there's a lot of division, but not in this space. So it's really been great.
And, so we talked about this last week where, a grandparent usually retired, usually wants to travel. And then all of a sudden you have this grandchild that you need to care for.
Right.
And it doesn't just affect their life, which I imagine it does very much, but it affects your lives as well.
100%. And we heard about a family right around Christmas time. Grandma inherited 3 to 4 grandkids before the holidays, and there's no notice. But we're not superheroes. We love our grandkids, and everybody I know would do the same thing. If you had a grandchild that was at risk, you'd of course volunteer your time and services. But it's been such a blessing, and then now we're starting, Brooke, to get cards from grandmas we've helped. And Christmas cards or holiday cards, you've made such an impact around the holidays. That just blesses me so much. It's like the adrenaline we need to keep going.
Yeah, for sure. So what is, you mentioned the experts that you have on the podcast. What are the issues that are specific to grandparents raising grandkids?
Well, there's a lot of issues like tax issues, the adoption process. There's
guardian issues.
Guardian issues, right? Absolutely huge. We've got a wonderful group of folks in Southeast Michigan that help with this whole process in Oakland County, Macomb County. We've also got an issue with fentanyl. We've got a group right here in Oakland County that started an organization called Fentanyl Fathers. They've been phenomenal guests.
That is Greg, right?
Greg Swan.
Yes, I have not. It's funny. I have not met him yet, but I've reached out to him because I think it's very important what they do.
Anybody we've talked to, I was just sitting thinking, they'd be great guests for your program. Greg Swan is doing an amazing work, going to high school auditoriums all over the country, trying to educate folks on the dangers of fentanyl. Fentanyl, if you have a fentanyl overdose, it's a direct line to becoming a kinship caregiver. If we want to prevent less grand families, we got to stop fentanyl. And also in our area, we've got social media issues. Whether if you're raising your kids, social media is a concern for you, and it's absolutely a concern when you're a little older raising them. We're not tech savvy like everybody else, but it's certainly an issue to deal with. And so we've had a lot of behavioral health experts on the program, and just absolutely terrific. And they're all in our area. They're just amazing. And of course, there's also issues with the kids that, of course, had these wonderful grandkids, and sometimes they're on the streets of Detroit. There's a lady at Ellie's house, a former police officer that works with ladies that are on the run and tries to give them shelter and help them rehab. And there's just some amazing people here in Southeast Michigan. They would all be phenomenal guests on your program.
Well, let them know that, please.
I absolutely will. And I'd love to have you on our program.
I will, for sure.
Because everything you're talking about would really be a blessing to grandparents.
Well, I think, so I did tell you I was incredibly close to my grandparents. I was so close, I called them mom and dad.
Right.
So when they passed, I was completely devastated because, that unconditional love, right? And, I know I was a challenge sometimes, being an only child and all that, but the whole idea that, your grandparent is, you hear, oh, well, you take the kid for a couple hours and you're able to sugar them up and give them back.
Right.
And that's not the case. Even for you, you are raising your granddaughter.
We absolutely are. And if someone sugars them up, we deal with it.
You're like, what just happened? Let's talk about the kids for a minute and what they deal with when, they're not going to a stranger.
No,
they're going to their grandparents or their aunt or uncle or whoever it is, but there's got to be mental health issues that they're dealing with on their end too.
There absolutely are mental health issues. And the good news, if folks are in a kinship care situation or being raised in a grand family, they know they're loved. So their outcomes are much better than the foster system, where you're just being raised by folks that really have that kin relationship with you. But, we still have issues like bullying, and so it's really important that your grandchild is secure and knows who they are. They know their identity.
They know they're loved.
They know they're loved, and also that you're attuned to what's going on at the bus stop. Because sometimes kids can be well-meaning, or at least the parents can be well-meaning, asking about your situation. And then they'll go and tell their kids that, well, your granddaughter hasn't seen her mom in 2 years. And then they'll ask the granddaughter about it. It's like, what are you doing? But,
right. How are educators when it comes to this?
Oh my gosh, they're terrific. Okay. Absolutely terrific.
So schools work with grandparents.
Schools work with grandparents. It's not a isolated incident anymore. We are everywhere. There's 54,000 grandkids in Michigan being raised by grandkids.
54,000
54,000
in Michigan alone.
in Michigan alone. Yeah, it's 3 million across the country. So, in fact, one of our new representatives in the House of Representatives, Jamie Thompson, is raising her grandkids. And just so I'm just amazed at all the folks. I can have just an easy conversation with folks, and they all know someone who's raising their grandkids.
So sometimes, it seems like there's a stigma associated with, obviously with drug use, there's certain stigmas,
Yes.
but it doesn't seem like there's a stigma, or maybe you're breaking that by having grandparents be able to talk to one another
Yes.
and let them know that they're not alone.
Well, everybody needs community,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we are trying to offer folks. And I'm part of a group called the Generations United, which is a national organization out of Washington, D.C., that does lobbying for grandparents raising grandkids. And there's 86 grand voices, of which I'm one, across the country. And we go to state capitals, we meet with folks at the roots level, and what have you, and try and get the word out that there are support groups, and we need support. Again, 30% of grandparents raising their grandkids are at or below the poverty level. 30%. It's just huge.
So how do you help them?
Well, there's several organizations in our area. You've had Lisa Grodsky on.
Yeah,
Hopefully
she's going to be on next week,
Yeah,
right?
she's going to be on with me
Excellent.
next week. And there are organizations in our state that are focused on helping grandparents raising grandkids. And you could, of course, donate to It's a Grand Life. Go to itsagrandlife.com. And we are trying to identify folks that we can help. But right now I'm looking for a gas a gas dryer and a gas stove for 2 families. And so because we're new at the charitable side of things, we're just getting our bearings and what have you. But a year from now, it's really going to be rocking and rolling. But there's nothing like being a blessing to a grandparent.
Right.
Absolutely. And
So that means you have to have a gala soon, right?
yes, they have to have a gala.
Yes, you
It's
have
a
to
great
have.
idea.
Yeah, see, I'm full of ideas.
That's really a great idea. Yeah.
I so appreciate you coming on and talking about this, and I think it's so important what you do, your podcast. I am sorry to say I don't. When is it? It's not Mondays at 10, is it?
Well, it's on YouTube. It's on 29 different platforms. It's not a specific time like yours is. So,
Okay.
so anybody can get. In fact, that's one of the good things. We've got these wonderful subject matter experts that we've now captured in a podcast, and they can listen to old shows. And
Okay,
learn
so
a lot.
the old shows. Tell me some of the topics.
Well, the behavioral health, just like we're talking about, dealing with fentanyl. How do you lobby your representative in Washington or in Lansing, and how do you deal with some of the tax issues, some of the you have adoption questions. How do we connect with that? Do you have an estate plan? You need to redo your estate plan if you're dealing with grandparents raising grandkids. We even have estate planners that'll do the tax plan for free for low income
So
folks.
you can connect
We
people.
can connect people. Yeah. So we're really trying to be more of a connecting group, and because we're so short staffed, we're trying to work with larger organizations who vet folks that really need the support, and then we want to get the support to them.
And it stays in Michigan. Your support, or
Well, it's what's happened. It's really kind of taken off. We're partnering with 2 states now, and we eventually will want to be in 50 states.
that is awesome.
And just and because there's phenomenal organizations, and in fact, there's a group in Alabama right now, Huntsville, Alabama, and believe it or not, the poverty rate for grand families in Alabama is 50%. So, it's just staggering. So, we can't wait to get the word out. And again, thank you so much for having us here today. We love talking about helping grandkids. And the other thing that was so interesting, last week we were here with Mark Alexander, is that when I shared this story, many people in the audience or folks listening don't realize they were part of a grand family.
Right.
Grandma and grandpa had a huge influence in their life. They wouldn't be the same without grandma and grandpa. So cheers to all the grandparents out there that are making an impact on the young ones. We appreciate you so much. And if you want to find out more about what we're doing, it's at grandlife.com.
Okay, and that's where you can hear the podcast as well.
Yep. We can link to the podcast, link to the donation page, and everything else.
Okay, well, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you. And
Pleasure.
I saw you all over the news this weekend, and I was texting all my media friends saying, I had him on last week. Beat ya.
Well, you're ahead of the game. Right here. But thank you so much.
No. So next week we hopefully will have Lisa
Yes.
on. And so real quick, tell me who she is so people know.
Well, Lisa works for a group called OLSA, which is Oakland Livingston Human Services Agency. She is amazing at finding grandparents that need help and getting the resources to them. She's been doing this for over 20 years and knows everybody in the whole state. And we're going to talk about what a partnership looks like with an organization like OLSA and It's a Grand Life. And that's what we're trying to do across the country. Find all the OLSAs, folks doing great work, but maybe they don't have the time or the resources to do the grant writing, or maybe they don't have the expertise to update the web site and things like that. Or maybe they just need some additional funds, which we've done with OLSA, help fund them, some of their initiatives. But Lisa knows everybody needs a help, and
She's amazing.
And she puts us together, and that's where the magic happens.
And I think you said at the very beginning when we started this conversation is that it's all about community.
Yes.
Right. And that's what is so important. And that's what's important to us here at the show. That's what's important to you. It's bringing people together to help each other and locate those resources that you may not know where to start.
Exactly. And that's why we love getting the word out, and just hope that this podcast continues to thrive and just gets a huge audience, and so that when we're on next year,
You're here first, though.
you're here first.
I call dibs.
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Give me the website one more time so people can find you.
It's agrandlife.com.
Okay, thank you so much, Craig.
Thank you, Brooke. We'll see you next week.
Yes, I'll see you next week. I'm so excited. He and Kathy always get my emails the day before, like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow, right? You're coming,
That's
right? So make sure to check out that podcast. If you know somebody who may need help or resources, please check out it'sagrandlife.com. Super important resource, as you heard Craig say. The poverty level for grandparents raising grandchildren here in Michigan is 30%, and there's 54,000 grandparents raising grandchildren alone here in Michigan. So, hi.
Hello.
So this is Jake Siegel, who is a co-owner of Row House on 13 Mile, right?
Yep, 13 Mile in
13
Southfield.
Mile in Southfield.
Row House,
And, okay, so it is what? It is January 13th.
Mhm.
And this is about the day, I think National Quitters Day was last week when people made those resolutions and already dropped them. But Row House is an amazing, amazing space.
Yeah, it is. So so the place has been there since 2020. My significant other and I, we bought the place towards the end of 2023. And it already had such a wonderful community there that we, the owners at the time who weren't the original owners just weren't really taking care of it. They weren't local,
Oh, okay. That makes a
So
difference.
it really does, because anybody who would see the community that we have there, they would have treated it much better.
Right.
And so that's what we did.
Okay, so Row House is exactly what it sounds. It's rowing, right?
Yeah, it is. It's rowing. It's a lot more than just rowing.
Yeah.
It is a fitness facility. We do classes. We've got 5 different class types. But it is centered around these indoor rowing machines. We use the same kind of machines that people who are like training to row in the Olympics row on. So
There's a lot of music.
Yes. So in all the classes, we've got music, and that's, I think, one of the, I'm a big music person myself. I'm a musician myself. So that really kind of drew me in as well. And it's one of the most fun things because, with the 5 different class types, there's some kind of standard things you're going to go through in the classes. But then that's another opportunity for coaches to kind of show their individuality and give people a different flavor of things with their playlists and things like that.
So, okay, question. So
Yes.
for someone who may be embarrassed to go work out, you have that first time fear, right? Of
Sure.
like, I'm not gonna be able to keep up. How do I do this? I'm gonna fall off the rowing machine, so many questions.
Sure. So, one of the things we fully understand, sometimes the heaviest lift is opening that door for the first time.
Yep.
And so we do everything we can to make sure people just feel welcome and accepted when they come in for the first
It's
time.
not an intimidating atmosphere.
It's not. So, and there's a lot of things going on there. I mean, one, again, it's the community, the staff there, from the person you're going to see at the desk, which will often be,
Is it you?
It'll often be me or my girlfriend. We've got some other people that work there as well. You're going to be welcomed very warmly. We're always excited to welcome somebody to we call the crew,
Okay, right.
to the coaches. We really meet people where they are. And part of that is also because of the workout itself. It's what we call effort-based.
Okay.
And so it's all about kind of how hard you're pushing through the legs when you're on the rower itself. And then during the floor work where you get off the roller and, work out with weights, things like that, we've got a huge range of weights. So if you're just getting started out, you can just start with body weight. Our coaches are great about offering modifications so that if you've had injuries or anything else is going on, they'll make sure that you still can get the exercise that you need. And then it's the vibe, like we turn the lights down, the music comes
the video,
up.
I was watching it and I was like, I need to go there like right now.
Yeah,
I mean, it just looks relaxing but fun, and you're getting cardio. You've got the different programs.
Right. So it is large. Rowing is, of course, I'm biased, but I'm going to say rowing is one of the best cardio options out there because it works 86% of the body. It's still largely a leg workout.
Okay.
But it's working more muscles than a lot of other cardio workouts out there. And then we've got classes that focus on building strength as well. So if you're trying to like bulk up and, turn into like a, an Arnold Schwarzenegger, maybe not necessarily the place for you. But for just general, practical health, it's a great option and just a fun time.
How long are the classes? So it's a class atmosphere.
Yes.
Right. So are they 30 and 45 minutes? Do you have two different ones or?
Yep. So most of our classes are 45 minutes. We also offer express that are 30.
Okay.
And then we'll do hour-long classes. So every Friday we do a themed class that's an hour long. And we've got all of our coaches kind of rotating, taking that class.
So when you say theme, are you talking about like pina colada theme? Or are you talking about like a special like legs? What are we talking?
So yeah, I mean, kind of a combination of all those. So a coach will put together kind of a themed playlist.
Okay.
So we've had like show tunes before.
Awesome.
We've had coaches pick like two artists like Michael Jackson versus Prince, which was a fun one.
Very cool.
And then they also picked the format. So like last week we called it a restore format. And restore classes are kind of more focused on stretching and mobility. You're not going into a really high, we call it stroke rates, so you're not getting super intense with stroke rates, but you're still going to get some cardio in and stretch your body and let it recover after,
You're just going to feel good. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So can people walk in? Do you have to be a member? How does this work?
So, yeah, I mean, you do have to sign up for a class, but the first class is always free.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to our website, therowhouse.com, we're the only one in Michigan, but the location's 13 Mile. Again, we're in Beverly Hills. You can sign up for your first class and then come on in and we'll get you going. And then from there, a lot of folks do transition into a membership from there. And we've got an app, so you can book all your classes in the app. You can pick your favorite machine in the app. So if there's a place in the room you like to sit, yep.
Awesome.
So you can do that. And then the other really cool thing is you can keep track of your stats in the app.
I was just going to ask you. So you go to a class twice a week and you'll log that.
Yep. Yeah. So the app, you'll get an email, and then in the app you'll see how many meters you rode, and then what your pace was. So pace we kind of look at in two ways. There's your stroke rate, which is like how many times you're pulling in a minute, and also split time, which is in the rowing world, it's how fast you can row 500 meters, right? And it's funny how those things aren't always directly related.
Okay.
But we go over that more in class. When you come in for your first class, we make sure everybody has some time to get set up with a coach and learn the strokes and all that stuff.
Okay, so the biggest question is, what do you wear to this?
Really whatever you're comfortable in.
It should be tighter though, right? Because you're rowing and you don't.
Yeah. So, like we generally tell like ladies not to wear a skirt, nothing too flowy that's going to get caught under the rower, when you're rowing back and forth. The other big thing to take into consideration actually is the shoes. It's not the shoes that most people would use for other fitness things. Whatever. So and again, it's different for everybody.
Shoes or what?
But yeah, a lot of people
Water
really
shoes?
like to
What are
go
you
for like kind of a flat bottom, like a Converse All Star or like a skate shoe, things like that.
So that's what is preferred or recommended?
A lot of folks, that's what we recommend, because you can really feel, again, because so much of the workout is kind of pushing through the legs and the connection with your foot on the rower's foot plate.
Okay.
And so you can really feel that in those kinds of shoes. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And are you open 7 days a week?
Yep, we're open 7 days a week. We offer Monday through Friday. We have classes in the morning, in the evening. A lot of times we'll have some midday classes as well. And then on the weekends, morning, sometimes early afternoon as well.
What about age?
So right now, our membership ranges from 8 years old all the way to 92.
Oh, so kids can do it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's more of a height thing. If you're, we've done events like, in Oak Park and Berkeley where, we set up a rower at like family friendly events and little kids get on and they enjoy it, but you're not really effectively getting the machine moving. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. So my 13-year-old twins, still getting used to saying that. They just turned 13 last week. But they, we want to go to a gym now. We're 13. And I'm like, I don't think you can, but they could.
Yeah. I mean,
they're tall. They're taller than me.
So yeah, I mean, in those situations, we want them coming with, their guardian, whether it's a parent or a grandparent.
Craig Nash, come on.
Yeah. Craig is actually a member with us.
Seriously?
Yeah. I saw him this morning, and then I guess I followed him here. And neither of us knew that we'd see each other here.
That is so funny. Yeah. You're like, so hello, hi.
Yeah. I didn't recognize him without his workout clothes on. Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
That is very cool. Well, well, see, you've got members right here. That is awesome, and I really want to come and check it out. And because I was watching the videos last night, and it looked fun and invigorating, and I like that there's music. I also like that the lights are low.
Yeah, and I mean, we every class has that kind of party vibe. We've done, like I said, the themes, and it's funny. Just you went earlier mentioned pina coladas. We've had a local microbrewery come out. We've done what we call Brew with the Crew.
Really?
So after the class, come out. We had a great local brewery called Load of Dice there handing out beers, and everybody had a beer and hung out a little bit.
That is very cool.
That is really one of the best things about the place. Just kind of going back to where we started is the community. People just want to hang out and. Because it's that effort-based workout and everybody can do it together in the same room, no matter what their fitness level is, you really start to see friendships form that you wouldn't see at a big practice gym.
That's so cool. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to meet you. I will see you soon, especially since you're at the front desk sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's the website people can check out to sign up?
So therowhouse.com, that's where you can sign up. You should also check out our Instagram, look at some of those videos. We are going to do a special if you text caffeine to 248.
Doing it right now.
Yeah, if you text caffeine to us, you'll get, like I said, normally it's the first class free. We'll give you 3 free classes on the house. And then we're also doing a giveaway for the folks in the audience. So I think we're going to do a drawing at some point.
Whose class, everyone? Are we going?
Yeah, somebody's going to win 1 month of an unlimited membership.
Really?
Oh,
that is awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I win that 1 month membership?
Yeah.
He's like, no, you are disqualified. Seriously, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So how do people, tell me one more time how people get that deal for the caffeine?
So just text us. It's 248-419-1371.
Okay.
And just text caffeine and we will hook you up with 3 free classes.
All right, awesome. High five, man. Thanks.
Right. Thank you,
All right, see you soon.
See you soon.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, this is Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen. Episode 2, I'm all backwards now. I'm all like thrilled about going to Row House. So it is season 2, episode 10. There we go. And every week we do a giveaway. So I guess we have extra giveaways today. So that's exciting. So thank you, Jake. But we do have another giveaway. And Barbie, come here, please. So this is exciting because we have a giveaway because I will do it. Yes. Okay. Barbie is my stylist, also the show director, and she went with me last week to get our done because I love the chrome. It is this, yes. So, okay, what was the name of the nail polish you got?
I want to buy you a drink.
Is it a pina colada? Are we catching a theme here?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Posh Nail Salon in Troy, they are expanding. It's the only place I go, and I mean, they are top-notch customer service.
Yes.
And you've never been there before.
I've never been there, and I'm kind of picky.
Yeah.
And
as am I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was fun. They chat with you, the appropriate amount.
Yes.
And they don't question my nails that I tend to bite if I don't have that
Right.
on.
Yeah. So
And the
they were-
color it was just fun. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. Prices are incredible.
Right.
They're great prices.
Right,
So
they have a
yes,
special
thank
going.
you.
Yeah, they have a special going on right now. But really, they are expanding, so you can do. I mean, you can get your volcano pedicure. You can do your nails and the chrome. It's funny every time they laugh at me. I say, nope, I'm not doing the chrome today, and they're like, And then by the time I'm leaving, I'm like, okay, just do it, please, because I mean, it's just pretty.
It is really
It is pretty.
It is
And,
very
yeah, so they are located over on Maple Road in the Walmart Plaza.
Yep.
And they are open till 7:30. I have literally walked in there at 7:20 one night, and they did my nails.
Yeah, and the one thing I noticed too is the amount of foot booths they have for massage.
Right.
Well, pedicure. Sorry,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then your manicure, whatever you want with your nails. There's so many that I can't even imagine getting a last minute appointment, walk in, which
Yeah.
is usually what I do. I'm
Right,
always
yeah.
a walk in.
No, me too.
And that's very enticing. So yeah.
So Posh Nail Salon, check them out in Troy. And so one of our studio audience here is going to win. So I'm going to give you a number choice, Barbie, and you can pick.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
So I'm just going to pick.
You pick, please, because I've been looking at them, so I know who's sitting where.
Okay, so I'm going to say 5. So who is in
I'm
seat
nine.
5?
That's you, Jack. That's you.
Oh, so she
Going?
won.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you know what? She's not gonna come up, but Jamie is our winner. So Jamie, enjoy them. Tell them Brooke sent you, please. And they've been kind enough to donate 4 different gift cards. So every week for this whole month, we
Yeah.
will have a gift card for our in-studio audience. So please go check them out. Also, you've heard me talk about my migraines. You dealt with me the other day. You were trying to reach me, and I wasn't returning your call because I was laying down. But MIND, which is the Michigan Institute of Neurological Disorders, they are in Farmington. They are amazing. They have everything under one roof. So if you deal with migraines, if you even have Alzheimer's or MS, they can really help you out. Like I said, it's if you need an MRI, you can go there and get it done. You don't have to keep making all these different appointments. So if you have a problem like migraines or anything that to deal with your nervous system, your spine, neurological, reach out to them at mindonline.com. They have an office also in Dearborn, and they also have an office in Roseville, but their headquarters are in Farmington.
Mhm.
So I am, what is this?
I'm slipping you a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that.
Oh, so we are just getting word that gas appliances have been donated to It's a Grand Life from a viewer wishing to remain anonymous. So there's Really?
Yeah, really.
Oh, so, okay, Craig, we'll figure out how to handle that with you, okay? But
Sounds great.
that is amazing.
I know, isn't it?
Yeah. So, okay, well, I feel like we have done our job today. I
I
feel
think you've done more than your job today.
Well, thank
It's
you.
just the
Thank you.
connections here, the networking.
Yes,
it's,
it is amazing. And as always, I need to say thank you to Alex Hennessy. He was with us when we transitioned to Imagine here in September. He is actually moving soon out of state, so he is no longer with us. But Ben Lauder has stepped in now, so Ben is with us. And thank you, Ben. I wanted to say big appreciation to you. He does all of my sponsor videos, and he's out and about with us all the time. So thank you for joining the team, Ben. Of course, Barbie, stylist and director of my show of the floor. Jason Waldron, of course, been with me for forever and helps and has our show over at Time Warp Vintage, our first one, which was in Macomb County on December 23rd. And it's just a beautiful store. If you've never been there, go check out Time Warp Vintage in St. Clair Shores and say hi to Jason and Steve. And of course, Liz. Liz is my PA. Thank you, Liz. She's waiting. And just thank you to everyone who comes to the studio audience. I appreciate all of you. Every week, people said sometimes that, people are not going to show up Mondays at 10. And I think that we've proven them wrong. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you online as well. And like I always say, keep the coffee hot. We'll see you next week. Bye.